Hi, welcome to A Moment in Time with Taylor. Thank you so much for watching. Please check out the website nextjuice.com, click the support button, and help us to keep this channel going and growing together. Thank you so much for subscribing and giving this video a thumbs up on YouTube as well. And thank you to every single person that makes this show possible over the last 30 days. We are at an all-time low. We are in desperate need of sponsorships right now to keep growing the channel like we want to, which is to get this channel live 24 hours a day. This book review is being streamed live right now, but I know a lot of you are watching the replay, so I'm going to get right to it. This is a book review on this book, Who Moved My Cheese by Spencer Johnson. I first read this book in 2016. It's now 2019, and I picked it because it was a really short, tiny book, and I was traveling. I was in Miami Beach on a little holiday, and even though I always work when I travel, and I just brought it because it was short. And then I realized how relevant it is to what just happened with us on this channel, which is that we changed our name. We used to be called Fem Yoga because when I first started going live, I was just doing yoga and I was trying to get private female yoga clients. And now we are pushing, like I said, to be a 24-hour a day positive, engaging live streaming network. So on our Periscope channel, we're up to 11 broadcasters total. There's 11 of us. We're adding, I think, 3 more over the next week or two. So I'm really excited to see where we're going to be growing to, but the name Fem Yoga didn't make sense anymore. So Next Juice means we're a connected group, like a nexus of people who have the juice, which is like the it factor, that positivity and that engagement that you find with all of the creators on this channel. And also our audience has the juice as well, that special something, that secret ingredient. Hey Matthew, how are you? First coming to the broadcast, coming in live, and we're talking about this book today. It's a very, very simple book. I recommend everyone read it. It doesn't matter if you're an entrepreneur or you work for someone else or you're a stay-at-home mom. This book is relevant to anyone who's ever going to experience any change in their life ever, which is it's a really short book. It's 94 pages, I believe, but a lot of the pages are just like these pictures of cheese that say this. It just like these little tiny sayings, and it takes up a whole page just on a piece of cheese. And the words are in 16-point font, big margins on the top and the bottom. I mean, I think it took me like an hour to read this book or so. It was very, very little time. Definitely less than a 2-hour read. If you read slower, again, you can finish this book in a day so easily. And what it's about, it's a story to talk about change and adapting to change and sensing new change and how different people respond and adapt and sense change. So there's 4 characters in the book. Now, the book itself, there are more characters. There are human characters that are basically discussing the story, but I'm just going to talk about the story within the book within the book. So the story that they tell in the book is about 4 characters. 2 are mice and 2 are humans. They call them little people. They're like tiny little humans that fit into a maze that a mouse would go through to find cheese. And the cheese is representative. There's a little cheese there. The cheese is representative of anything that you want in your life. It's representing your goals, whether it be wealth, whether it be health, whether it be relationship oriented, something you're working on in yourself. That's your cheese. It's the thing that you're trying to get to, the thing you're trying to obtain. And it brings you satisfaction, fulfillment. When you eat food, it gives you sustenance, and that's kind of the metaphor. When you get your cheese, you feel good. But what happens with a maze where you have mice in the maze, you put a little cheese somewhere, and then they study to see, how long does it take the mouse to figure out the new location of cheese, and what do they do to find the new location of the cheese, and how do they do that? Well, they talk about the 4 different characters, each approaching that situation differently. So in the beginning, they all find the cheese. They're all able to find the cheese where the cheese is located, and they go back there every day, and there's the cheese, and they just keep eating it, and it's all good, and they're all happy. And then one day, there's no more cheese. The cheese is gone. And the mice quickly move on to go find more cheese. The two mices, the two mice mice, I don't know the right words, but the two names of the mice are Sniff and Scurry. Sniff is the one that's always sniffing around, sensing any little change, seeing if the cheese is old, seeing if there might be cheese somewhere else, noticing that there might be less cheese from day to day, slightly less cheese. And as soon as the cheese is gone, he goes and he sniffs out some new cheese. He just goes right into the maze, sniffing around looking for some new cheese. Scurry is his friend. They're like a team. They're partners. And Scurry is fast. Scurry runs really fast and takes action instantly. Now the two work well together because Sniff is sniffing all around, might take a little bit longer to make forward progress, and Scurry moves quickly. So Sniff benefits by having the fast moving Scurry, and Scurry benefits by having Sniff, who's making sure that Scurry is heading in the correct direction by using his senses and being very aware and telling, no, I smell cheese this way, and if we turn this way, go down here, I don't smell it anymore. So we need to go back and go to this other way so they don't go too far in the wrong direction. And the metaphor there is people who are like that, people who are very aware. They have situational awareness. They can kind of tell when things are changing. They stay in the know. They know what's going on in the world. They know what's going on with their businesses. They know what the future may be holding. They see when new technologies are coming out, new features, and so on. And then Scurry are the people who take action. They might need a little help with direction. They might just need to be told what direction to head in, but they can move and they can move quickly and they don't hesitate. They just go. You tell them this is where we're going, boom, they go. So as you hear me talk about this, you can probably identify people in your, now we all have all of these elements inside of us, but you can probably think of people that embody these things even more than others, and the sniffs and the scurries in your business or in your life, and how to best communicate with them and how to best utilize their strengths and put them in positions in your world that are best utilizing their strengths and yours as well. And then the two little people are named Hem and Haw. And these two process things differently. When the cheese is gone, they don't just immediately take action, go and find new cheese. They think about it a lot. They have more complex brains. They weren't actually even really aware that stuff was changing with the cheese. They just kind of took for granted the cheese was always going to be there. So they take a while to analyze the situation. Well, what happened to the cheese? Where did it go? Why is it gone? They stay there in that same position with no cheese for a long while. And in this story, it's days, I think actually maybe even weeks. And they keep going back each day, hoping that the cheese will be there again, that they'll show up and there will be the cheese one day. Or they'll have like victim mentality days where they're thinking this is such a great injustice that the cheese has been taken from them and they worked hard for that cheese and they earned that cheese and that was their cheese, and how dare somebody take it away from them. And then they start to experience a shift between the two of them. So in the beginning, they're both pretty much the same. They're experiencing all of that. They also start to have fears about wandering out into the unknown maze. It's dark, it's scary. They never found cheese out there before. They don't know that there's any cheese out there or where it would be, where to turn. And they're worried that if they leave their comfort zone and where they had had cheese in the past, that they might end up not finding any cheese in the future. Maybe they should have just stayed there and waited for cheese to come back. Hi, Elaine, or Alan. And then Haw starts to evolve, I would say, beyond Hem. So Hem just stays in his ways, rigid. This cheese is going to come back. How dare anyone take our cheese? Redundancy over and over. Haw starts to laugh at himself. He starts to laugh at his fears and say, I'm afraid of not finding cheese out there, but there's no cheese here. So really, my fears are not justified because I don't have what I want, and I'm afraid of going and looking for what I want, and that doesn't really make any sense because I'm never going to get what I want by staying here. It's like that definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. So he tries to convince Hem to go with him. Hem keeps planting fears back into his head, influencing him to stay, and it takes him a while to change. And he starts visioning, which is something else that the mice don't really do with their relatively simple brains. the people are able to really vision and envision in detail exactly what that new cheese will look like, what it will taste like. They can envision themselves enjoying that cheese. They may envision that the Sniff and Scurry have probably already found that cheese and they're already there, and that maybe they missed out on it and it would already be gone because they would have already gotten all the cheese, and then they're gonna have to. They're basically just trying to catch up. They're just trying to keep up with the ones who were quick to adapt to change and realize change was coming and realize change had come, and then take action and move quickly towards the new change, the new cheese. And again, cheese is just a metaphor for your goals, whatever it is that you want. Maybe you want a wife or a husband. Maybe you want more money, or maybe you want success in your business, or maybe you want a different body. Maybe you want to be stronger or eat differently, or have healthier teeth and bones and skin and hair and all of this. Whatever your cheese is. Okay, that's what cheese is for anyone joining us a little bit late. And Haw eventually does go out into the maze. He even finds little bits of cheese along the way, tries to bring it back to Hem, tries to get him to learn, come on, man, there's cheese out there, there's no cheese here. And Hem is like, nope, I don't want that new cheese. I want my old cheese. I was comfortable with that cheese. I don't want to try new things. I don't want to taste it. I'm sure it's not gonna, I loved my old cheese so much. I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna remain faithful and I'm gonna wait for it. And the end of the book, they don't actually tell you whether or not Hem ever left that original cheeseless station in the beginning, but Haw does find the cheese, and it takes him a while. There's days where he didn't find it. There's days where he just realizes that he wished that he had started sooner, because now that he hasn't had cheese in so long, he's weak. He's more weak. He's more susceptible to fear and emotion. He doesn't move as quickly. His senses aren't as alert and on point. So things kind of slow him down and hold him back, but he just keeps moving forward. And that vision of what it will be like when he finds that new cheese is really what keeps him going and moving forward. And eventually he does find all that lovely new cheese, all different kinds of cheese he never even thought of or heard of before. And it's even better than he had imagined. And he sees Sniff and Scurry there, and they got their fat bellies, and they've been feasting for days or weeks. And they nod, hey, good to see you. You're a little late, but we got plenty to go around. And that, I think, is just a really powerful metaphor. When I first rated this book, I gave it 4 stars. I changed it to 5 stars this time because I think we all know Hems in our life that will just never change. They're still trying to sell phone books and encyclopedias and typewriters, and it's just like, how could you really think that that is going to get you success, because it got them success 50 some odd years ago, and they're just still, and I don't, it may not be that specific, but that's kind of the concept is. Or someone who's stuck in a bad relationship because they're comfortable there, and at one point they liked it, and now that it's not making them happy and not giving them what they want, they're afraid of being alone, they're afraid of going out and looking for something. What if they end up without happiness, but they don't have happiness now? And maybe that's you. Maybe you're watching that, and you're in some part, you're in a job, a dead end job, and you don't want to be stuck. Actually, me and Matthew talked about this earlier on my Periscope stream, about not wanting to be stuck at a dead end job the rest of your life, and how that can be a powerful motivator to go out into that unknown maze and journey, and not really know exactly what's going to happen, because you don't immediately find that new thing right away. Sometimes it's trial and error. You have to go down one hallway and you find nothing, and you come back where you started, and then you go forward from there and you try another hallway and nothing there. Or maybe there's just little bits, but it's not really enough it's not really what you're looking for, the abundance you're looking for. It's not enough to sustain you for a long period of time, so you have to go back and keep moving forward. And it's sometimes baby steps, sometimes it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back, and you just keep moving forward, keep your eye on the prize, keep thinking about that cheese, visioning that cheese, and surround yourself with people who are like Sniff and Scurry, people who are aware, they're using their senses, they have their kind of what's the word, like, kind of like their tendrils out there feeding information, they're connected. And the people who are action takers, they're going to move forward, they're going to help you to stay motivated, they're going to inspire you because of all the action they're taking all the time and everything that they're doing and all the cheese that they're feasting on. And those are the people you want to be around. You don't want to be around the Hems, the people who are just stuck in their ways, and all they want to do is try to convince you that their way is correct, and that You shouldn't change and you shouldn't try new things and you should just stick to the tried and true methods, and that you should be afraid of new things and you should be afraid of change and you should be resistant to these things, because that's just going to keep you stuck longer, and life is much too short for that. I'm going to talk a little bit more about kind of some realizations that I had, which are somewhat similar to what we were just discussing in my new book that I'm reading. I'm only 58 pages into this one. This is called Millionaire Success Habits: The Gateway to Wealth and Prosperity by Dean Graziosi. I have loved it so far. Like I said, I'm still kind of in the beginning of it. I'm going to read some more tonight after my streams, and I'm going to go over on Twitch and talk about that. So I encourage you, yes, he said, come feast on the cheese wheel. I encourage you guys to follow me over on Twitch. It is still Fem Yoga there for a couple more days, but it is going to be changing to Next Juice, just like this channel. Right now, when I'm recording it, it's called Fem Yoga, but probably by the time you're watching it, it's going to be called Next Juice. So we're in that transition. We're changing. We're moving towards new cheese. We're a new juice. Our cheese is juice. We're moving towards the juice. So follow me now while it's all clear where to go and find me. And if you have any trouble, just go to the website, nextjuice.com, click that contact button, you'll see all the links. And while you're there, if you feel like you like this content, you found any value from this at all, please click that support button and help us to keep this channel going and growing together. Just like Matthew Gold, who's a monthly sponsor of this channel, just like Ed Barsky, who's a monthly sponsor of this channel. Hey Pitbull, I'm just signing off. Good to see you. Thanks for jumping into my call-in show earlier on Periscope. I'm jumping over to Twitch now I'm going to be talking about that 7 levels deep that we learned about in that book, which I worked on earlier with Matt when he called in. So I hope that you guys will come over on Twitch and hang out over there. And this has been A Moment in Time with Taylor. Again, this was a review of Who Moved My Cheese by Spencer Johnson. This has been A Moment in Time with Taylor. See you on the next juice.